because NVIDIA is a big freaking deal. NVIDIA out with its earnings. That came out yesterday afternoon. And wow, I'll tell you, I was actually working on my finances, personal finances, and looking at my portfolio at the time as this news crossed. And all I did was say, whoo, and not because I'm individually invested in NVIDIA, but only because NVIDIA has become such an important stock, right, for the overall market. So if you have an S&P 500 index fund, you're going to be invested, whether you like it or not, right, in NVIDIA. And so NVIDIA is a very good barometer of what to expect. Well, they killed it on earnings, right? They killed it because they doubled their earnings. And it's incredible when you see this. Rob and I wrote about it in this morning's edition of the 76 report. And we were talking about how it's interesting, right? You saw immediately in the after hours market just yesterday afternoon, NVIDIA shares slipping. And then what did you see today? You saw the same thing all over again. Listen, this is an important company. I was laughing because there's like earnings viewing parties now. People are like gathering at bars just to watch the earnings as they get released for NVIDIA. So that certainly tells you something. When you look at the overall market right now, it's pretty dependent on this company. It's pretty dependent. And this is a company that, by the way, the market fared okay even in spite of this. But the big takeaway is here, look at this. NVIDIA now generating 7 times more revenue from its AI products than it did just 2 years ago. So what does that tell you as an investor? It tells you there's still opportunity within this space. So yes, I breathed a sigh of relief because I want NVIDIA to do well, because I want the rest of the market to do well. And right now, you could argue that some of these indices are a little overly dependent on NVIDIA, which is one of the reasons, a big reason why when Rob and I put together our model portfolios, we actually don't have NVIDIA in there. Our thinking being, if you want NVIDIA, you're going to be able to get it easily enough. You're going to be able to get it even just in your S&P index 500, S&P 500, go, if you get the spiders, you have exposure to that. And so Mag 7 in general, right, is a reason to think through diversification. I do believe the AI story is quite real, and there's going to be enormous opportunity. And I have, without tooting my horn too much, I do have a pretty good grasp. I've done this long enough that I have a grasp on sort of the overall direction of things. And I knew back in the year 2000, gosh, how many stories did I do? I was at Bloomberg back then. I would say, this is crazy. These tech stocks are totally crazy. Why are people leaving their jobs at really good law firms to go work for sneakers.com? Right? What is sneakers.com? There were things like that happening. And it felt very fake and very artificial. But I'm telling you, when I look at AI right now, this is real. This is actually going to be a game changer. The technology is growing so quickly, so fastly, and there's a lot of sort of variance on that in terms of how you invest around it. In other words, you don't need to buy NVIDIA in order to benefit from this massive growth that's going to happen, that is happening as we speak. Is it all priced in? I don't think so, because I don't think people even completely grasp or understand the real ramifications of all of this. I went to Apple the other day and tried on, the goggles, and wow. It made me feel really good about my tech investing, actually. I'm like, you know what, Trish? You usually are onto something. Bitcoin, I was obsessed with Bitcoin back when it was $10. I tend to be quite right on these things. I also predicted 08 as far back as 06. Nobody wanted to put it on the air. I remember trying to tell them over at CBS, I'm like, listen, this is important. They're like, Trish, the market's at an all-time high. How can we do a story on this house of cards thing? And I'm like, trust me, it's all coming down. It's all coming down. So anyway, I was 2 years ahead of the curve on that one. But I'm telling you, this is interesting stuff.